Hello, everyone. This is Ed Breniger, and welcome to the Eddie Network podcast. My guest today is my friend Tony Wachira from Nairobi, Kenya. Tony's been on several times. I don't know how many times, but 4 or 5, maybe, counting the
Maybe.
webinars we've done. We've done a lot of things, and we've known each other for 5.5 years.
Yeah.
That's, oh, yeah, it's,
Not bad.
it's beautiful. Okay, so welcome, Tony. Tell us a little bit about how you see yourself today in terms of what you are doing, because you're continuing to kind of morph to meet the needs
Hmm.
of the community.
Thank you, Ed. And as always, it's a pleasure to be here. I'm delighted to be on this show. So I do leadership work here in Kenya. I've been refining my vision and mission, and I feel that what I want to do in this season is to multiply holistic leaders who multiply holistic leaders, especially here in Africa. And I have also refined my mission since the last time I was on. My mission is, in one word, vivify. I love that word, vivify. I didn't know what it meant for a long time, but I now know what it means, and I love to use it as my mission statement because it means to bring life into spaces, to bring life into individuals when I do my coaching work, to bring life into communities when I interact, when I volunteer, when I'm part of when I'm a contributing member of the community that I'm in, and also in my leadership and training facilitation work to bring life to businesses, to organizations. So that's what I like. That's recent in the last few months. That's how I've been introducing myself after doing a bit of a reflective exercise last year and refining my mission and my vision.
So vivify is a great word, and I like that. And and I think I think it fits with who you are, and because you walk into a place and you kind of light it up.
Thank you, Ed. Thank you.
Yeah, I think you
I appreciate that.
I think what you apart from the intelligence and the work that you do, what you communicate is a sense of confidence in your clients. They need to have confidence and they need to believe in themselves. And I see you providing that to them. I mean, all my interaction with you, that's been what I've seen you doing. And that's so important.
Thank you, Ed. I really appreciate that.
So where did that come from for you? Where did you
Oh, wow. I love that question.
Yeah, because it started somewhere.
It did. It did. It did. So I like words. I have always been fascinated by words. And when I was younger, I remember, I know, Ed, you've been to my country here in Kenya. So I don't know whether you remember the matatus, the public transportation, the small minibuses. Once upon a time, I saw one that had the name Vivify on it. And at that time, I didn't know what it meant. I actually thought they had misspelled a word. And my friend and I actually had a joke because we both liked words and we were saying they got it wrong. And we talked about it for many years until once I checked it on the dictionary and I was surprised to see what a profound word it was. And then that left me for a bit. The other thing that I did was that I had started a newsletter when I was younger called The Influential. And I wrote that for a bit, and then I was trying to do it as a business. It didn't work out, and I shelved that, and I got into employment, and a lot of water passed under the bridge. And when I started a business to in people development, in training and in coaching, and now I do speaking as well, I call that business the influential. So Ed, you know about that story. So I call my business the influential because I could remember my newsletter and I loved the phrase, the influential. So I looked at what I do. I was doing a reflective exercise and I was looking for one word that would encompass my personality because I'm bubbly. I love to bring life into the room. And my friends think I'm really energetic. So I've received quite a bit of feedback on that. And then I looked at what it is that I want to do. Even those many years ago, the influential credo, the newsletter, I have a copy in the house. I don't know where it is right now. The credo was to add value to your life. And that was in 2002. I was in my 20s. So I was just looking at how to lift people up, how to get them to live their potential. So when I was now doing the reflective exercise, trying to write a mission statement, the word came back into my subconscious and I wrote it down and I thought, wait a minute, vivify. Then I wrote the different meanings and I thought, it actually fits in all the things that I really want to do because I want people to grow. That is bringing life. Life is growth. Life is energy. Life is unleashing potential. Life is helping people become a better version of who they are, which is really what I do. And I adopted it as my mission. And it's such a good short form and a good conversation starter as well. Yeah.
I like that. I like that very much. And
Thanks.
what I see is that that doesn't just apply to a few people or to a business, but really to the entire country of Kenya.
I would agree.
That's a
Yeah.
beautiful thing. You know, it's like when I wrote
Yeah. Thank you.
it's like when I wrote Circle of Impact, and in the introduction, I said my goal was to reach for 1% of the world's population to take personal initiative to create impact in their local communities, and I was asked, so how are you going to do that? I said, I'm not. I'm just
Mhm.
placing that out there for others to grab hold of and run with it. And that's really what's happened. It's really happened. So
Mm.
so I see that. I mean, we don't talk every week, or it's been a few months since we've talked, but I watch, observe, and I see you
Mm.
having this place in the business culture of Kenya that is really a place of optimism and encouragement and belief in people, and I think that's fantastic.
Mhm. Thank you very much. Yes. Yes. I would agree with you there. And I like the word vivify, and I love the concept you have because I find it quite robust. It's far reaching because you can bring life into pretty much into different situations. It can be in a small community, it can be with individuals, it can be with young people, with old. Yeah. And like your book, I'm hoping that what I'm doing is also able to inspire people to go and do the same thing, to multiply holistic leaders where they are. And you know that I subscribe to your definition of leadership. I love that from the circle of impact. Leadership is not by title. It is when people take initiative to create impact that creates a change that matters to them or to someone else.
So, how do you see that idea? Because it's not just my idea. I mean, other people have that
Mhm.
idea. Um, but how do you see that idea being embraced in Kenya? Because I see change happening there, and I see some of it
Yeah,
being that very thing of people taking personal responsibility.
I don't know whether you followed our politics. There's a time our young people, the Gen Z, protested and it became a story.
Mhm.
And that for me speaks volumes about the young people taking initiative, taking personal responsibility to speak up for things they feel are not going right in their communities. And they were not looking for political office, they were not looking for votes or anything like that. They were just protesting against something that they felt was unjust. And I was extremely excited to see that.
Mhm.
And in different spaces, they are talking and they are strategizing. What can we do? And they showed that they have what it takes, that they have the power, they can organize, that they have leadership among their ranks. So that's one situation that I really like. But also in the spaces that I have worked, I was recently at a graduation for young people who are in tech, who are hoping to start tech businesses. And I was appointed to sit and listen to their presentations. They are building these applications to try and start a business with them or to sell them to businesses. And it was very interesting to hear that. And just to see very young people taking initiative to solve problems through business was awesome. There was this young group of people who had created a portable, their business idea is a portable water tank made of something that is durable but also lightweight. I think it was fiberglass, something they can carry with them to the remote places in our country where it rains and nobody collects that water. And these people have no water. So a lot of water comes seasonally and it just goes to waste. And they have ideas to deal with issues like those. And I was just sitting there and thinking how good this is. And I could imagine how many other young people in similar programs have great ideas like this ones. So I'm seeing that especially among the young people more and more as I work with them. Ed.
That's great. That's great. And I think that it's we 5 years ago when we first started talking, 5.5 years ago when we first started talking, one of the things we discussed was the fact that 70% of Africa is under the age of 30. And I imagine it's something similar now still. And that this is an opportunity
Yeah,
to develop leadership. And
yeah.
but it's
Mhm.
not developing the leadership of people taking on titles. It's the leadership of personal initiative. Um, so what you're saying is that this
Yeah.
is beginning to happen, and so and if you don't want to answer this question, that's fine with me. But it seems to me that this is, in many
Mm.
ways, the youth saying to the world, "We want to stand on our own. We thank you for all the gifts that you have given to us over the generations from the West, but now we need to stand on our own."
Mm.
Is am I hearing something like that?
I think so. I believe it is very similar to that because in some cases, the young people are saying we don't want to be called the leaders of tomorrow. We want to be called leaders because we are ready to lead even now. Some of them are saying the future is here. We are the future and we are here. So
Hmm.
they are grateful for the opportunities. They are grateful for education. They are grateful for all the gifts, exactly like you put it. But they are also ready to show what they can do. And yeah, they're they're showing up. And when they're being given and when they get the opportunity, they are doing some good stuff. I believe they do need some guidance, and I am excited at the space I'm finding myself. I actually do some work at a university as well. I took a class at a university. I'm an adjunct faculty, just helping the students to become ready for work as they study for their degrees, because there's always a disconnect between the academia and the industry. So that's another place where I'm learning and seeing these things, young people being ready to get into the workplace and contribute, being ready to showcase what they're capable of. Yeah.
What do you see as the next 5 years in terms of the trends? Is it going to be more growth from like these young people that you're describing? Are they getting the support that they need, or are they just an early adopter group that then kind of languishes for a while before another group begins to actually be the group that takes things forward?
Wow, that's a fantastic question. I believe that in the next 5 years, the young people in this country are still going to be active and seeking partnerships and seeking opportunities to get mentorship. I have been getting a lot of requests for that. I'm even considering, I don't know what yet I want to do about that because my plate is kind of full, but I'm wondering whether we need an organized mentorship class for young people, because everybody's coming and telling me, I want this, I want this. So you're having this one-on-ones, which probably could be enriched by these people coming together as a group, and then you facilitate them and they also peer mentor one another and fine tune their ideas. I'm considering something like that because of the what I'm getting, and I am involved with people who are also really passionate about young people and who are taking their expertise to universities in particular, because those are organized groups that are already existing. And it is easier to influence those ones. It is easier to impact an already organized group than to try and organize one. That said, one of the things that brought our young people together was the politics of our country. They felt a certain way about the politics. And because our next election is in 2 years' time, that is a significant amount of time for these young ones to continue showing up and raising their hands and debating and thinking. So I believe that will keep them innovative. So I think that the group we have now has a good chance of being cohesive and sharing ideas and making a difference that matters for this country in the next 5 years.
And since the that demonstration was it last year? Was it last year or the year before?
Yeah,
Um,
that's it.
has the government been listening?
It looks that way. It's hard to tell, but it looks that way because one of the things that happened, which was monumental, is that the original idea that got them to go to the streets was the finance bill of 2024.
Mm-hmm.
And it was passed and they were against it. So all that was remaining was our president to sign it into law, and he did not. He chose to listen to them, which for me was a turning point that all the mistakes, there were killings, the people were hurt and all that, but the reason that they went out to the street, they accomplished the mission,
Yeah.
according to me. I don't know what they would say, but they set out to have this bill not signed into law, and it was not signed into law. That was a show that they were able to convince the president that they didn't want it. And I feel like even if our leaders are not listening, they are paying attention. They're fully awake to the fact that this is a group of people that you need to listen to and whose needs you need to take care of. And I like what you said earlier about our population being really young. The median population of Africa is 19, and that one of Kenya is 20. So look at that. So if you're not listening to the young people, you are in trouble. I think they probably will make the largest if it comes to elective politics. If the young people vote, they will be the swaying vote because there are so many, and so many of them will be ready to vote by 2027.
I see this as extraordinarily exciting time. Um, if you were a
Mm,
politician, I think it would be a time of real fear because I think what they would feel is that they are losing control and the people are beginning to exert their influence. There you go, influence.
mm,
But what is needed is responsibility and accountability
yeah,
so that when they act, they can act in a way that's there's some mutuality and there's also ways to build strength and build resiliency and build ways of being able to, okay, if this is where we are now, how do we go to this next level together? When I saw that the president had
mm,
not signed that funding bill, I said, well, this is as big a moment of change as when the British left, because
mm, mm,
everything up until that, I'm giving you my impression of this, but what I felt that
mm,
all of Africa had been captured by all these Western forces, Western influence, and here was
mm.
a East African president saying, "I'm going to listen to the people." And we don't know what
Yeah.
influence the West had had on him prior, but here he is saying, "It doesn't matter anymore. I'm going to listen to these young people." And it was to me, it was extraordinarily exciting and
I agree with you. I agree with you. And it was I use the word monumental when I mentioned that moment. And I totally agree with you. I hope that he follows through now because the young people are really upset. That's a problem now. When they're being young, some of them are really young and they don't want to forgive him, they don't want to listen. And of course, there are politicians who capitalize on that and they really paint him even worse. So he has to find a way to appeal to them because they are a huge population in this country and they are awake, like we had said, and like they have demonstrated, and they can be ignored. Now, no one can ignore them. No one can ignore them. But what the president needs to do is figure out how to gain their trust again because he did lose trust because of the things that followed. Some young people died, some were abducted, and whether he's involved or not, the young people don't seem to care. He is the president and he should have taken responsibility to protect them, so they feel. So there is a problem for him if he wants to win.
yeah, that's the way democracies work. Well, they're designed to work. They don't often do that.
Yeah. Yes. I
I
like the second
know,
part, the way they're designed to work. Yeah.
I know that you've traveled quite a bit outside of Kenya to do work in the
Yeah.
last 2 or 3 years. Can you talk a little bit about what you're seeing and what you're doing there? And um,
All right. So I've traveled mostly in Africa. That's where I've been doing the my work, and I have traveled in the recent past. I've traveled mostly in the east and southern. There's a likelihood that I could be going to Liberia in Western Africa. I'm looking forward to it. It's a business that we're trying to get from there, a group of us. So that will be very exciting. And one of the places I traveled I was, I've gone to some of the most interesting countries. I've gone to Somaliland, which is, yeah, so I've been privileged. I had always wanted to travel to Somaliland, and I've been there twice in the last couple of years. Somaliland is interesting. It's split from the greater Somalia, and Somaliland has got peace, And Somalia does not have peace. Somalia is still a war zone. The guns are still out in the streets. There's a lot of terrorism, and the presidents are being shot at and being bombed all the time. So that's a very interesting situation because the whole world recognizes Somalia, but nobody recognizes Somaliland as a sovereign state. It's not recognized as a country. The only people who recognize it, I think, are Taiwan because they are in the same boat. They want to be independent, but nobody wants to give them independence. So those are the two friends in this place. But it's possible to travel there. It is possible to do business there, which is very interesting. And what I have found there is that they are rebuilding and they have a bit of influence from the West, but in this, their countrymen who have traveled out of the country are the ones who are helping rebuild their country. So that is interesting about that country. So it's hard to tell, for me at least, I can't tell about the young people very well. I've not interacted with young people much to see their feelings about their country. And in a country like that, the world seems against you. They're very, very bonded. They're very united to some degree because when the whole world is against you, you have to come together because there are some things that you want to achieve as a country, even if you have your own divisions. And that I think is a strength for them. Another interesting country I have visited is South Sudan before the crisis that has happened. I have been there as well. And South Sudan, according to me, needs a complete overhaul change. It's very divided. And the rich in South Sudan are extremely rich, and the poor are extremely poor. It's so unfair. It's really, really unfair. And the corruption levels there are unprecedented. There are people who live so well, excessively, and they carry a lot of money, and they carry it in US dollars. Their countrymen are languishing. So that is a sad story there. I've also been to another country that I think is really poor. Malawi. I've been to Malawi. Malawi is interesting. It's a poor country, but the businesses there are evolving and they are creating products for the bottom of the pyramid, which is good. And they seem like they're on a trajectory to get out of poverty. I was able to sit with a business leader, a Kenyan business leader who leads an insurance group that has got branches in many of those countries. And one of them is Malawi. And he was telling me from their own research, they've been there a while, Malawi will not be poor for long. They're doing well, or rather they were doing well. Right now they're going through a forex deficit. They don't have a lot of forex, and the economy was not doing very well. So they have an election this year, so the president is likely to lose. If those things happen, they are on a trajectory to change, and there's promise in Malawi despite those things. Yeah, those are my views.
So, with these three countries you've visited,
Say that again?
with these three countries you visited, Somaliland, South Sudan, and Malawi, do you have hope for them in the future?
Definitely. Yes, I do. Yes, I do. And I just picked the ones that I thought were problematic. I've been to Ethiopia. Ethiopia is interesting, but it's hopeful. I've been to where? To Uganda as well. Uganda is our good friend and neighbor.
Yeah.
Amazing things happening there. They have built a 24-hour economy, so they are doing really well. Malawi, I have a lot of hope. If they figure this thing out and they get a different leader and their economy changes trajectory, I think they have what it takes. They have what it takes. The one that may take a little longer is South Sudan because of the issues they have right now. There's a crisis right now, and the president and his deputy are not getting along, and there are guns. So the guns need to stop. We don't know how soon that can happen. So therein lies the biggest issue for South Sudan. Somaliland is a fantastic place. Those people have rebuilt their country. There is thriving business. There is peace, which is a lot to say, especially when the whole world is refusing to recognize you. And they have managed to keep their borders safe. So yeah, I believe that they are on the right trajectory. Yeah.
So I know you do a lot of seminars and webinars and things like that. I see you posting about this on LinkedIn all the time. And
Yeah.
so my question is not so much about what you're doing, but how are the people there in particularly young people um, utilizing social media to build their businesses, strengthen their lives, communicate with other people as they kind of look at the future of their country. What, how are they? What's your impression of how well they're using social media as a constructive tool for their lives?
That is a fantastic question. I think our younger people are more savvy than a lot of the older folks. So there's an advantage there. But of course, and I like the question, how they're utilizing it for good, because they are as affected by the ills of social media as anybody else is.
Wow.
That said, and going back to the times of the demonstration, I observed something they would hold constructive discourse on social media because it was the easiest platform to galvanize a lot of people who could come and listen and ask relevant questions and give guidance because they had refused to have a positional leader. They had refused to have a positional leader, but they were inviting experts, they were inviting older people who were supporting the cause to come and speak to them, and they would ask questions. They were inviting lawyers, they were inviting doctors. It was fantastic to see that. And that showed me that they are so aware of the positive positive use of social media, more aware, I would think, even than most of the older folks. So that helps me to believe that that same energy can be transformed. If they can continue in that way, then we are on to something good. And I have seen them use the socials for other things that are beneficial. Let me pick two social media in particular. The young people who start small businesses, like probably I sell jewelry or I sell fancy trinkets, whatever that could be. They have found a way of marketing those services on Instagram and TikTok. People who do nails and hair, they have figured out how to use social media for business, and that has translated very well for a lot of them. So if that is an indicator, then there is a good percentage of the young people who have learned to use social media to earn a living. Yeah.
I see the same thing here. And so what I'm what I'm reflecting off of is um, that the local cultures of the world have a certain sameness to them in terms of how they're using technology.
Yeah.
So are these young people using AI in their efforts to build businesses and stuff like that? Have they dug into that?
That excites me because I go into some of these spaces thinking because as a person whose vision is to multiply leaders and the technology is affecting us, I was doing research and I spoke a lot about AI and I didn't know much about it. So sometimes I would go into these spaces thinking that I know something and I have been shocked, Ed. These young people are so literate when it comes to AI. They will surprise you. And I'm excited working with them because they're using AI really for business, for learning, for research. They are using it very well. In fact, one of the tools that they are using positively is AI. That has been my experience. It has been used for possibly more good than bad by the young people, in my experience. Yeah,
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
yeah.
Well, it's an exciting time. Um,
Mhm.
I mean, it is a time where change is being magnified and intensified and making becoming more chaotic. But I think the people
Mm.
who have the capacity to change on a dime
Yeah,
are the ones who are going to succeed well.
yeah.
And you're kind of an example of that to me because I've
Uh-huh.
seen you do that. I mean, I've seen you. Oh, that's a new thing. That's a new thing Tony's doing. Oh, that's really good. Oh, yeah, that's great. And I know what it is. You're experimenting.
Yeah. Yes.
You don't know what is going to resonate with people.
Yeah.
And so you don't have to have the answers. You just have to
Agreed.
do something that invites them in to help or to figure it out or to show you the way. That's what I've learned.
I would agree. And even when I speak to them, even my daughter, I tell her to try. That's all we can ask of you to try. What options or opportunities it will open, but just go in there and give it a shot. Yeah.
Well, I know that she's going to push you as she gets older. She's going to push you, and you're going to become not just a better father, but better in all these other things because she's the
Yes,
product
sir.
of your father.
Looking forward to that. Yeah, looking forward to that.
That's great. Well, as always, it's great to see you and to talk with you. And I wish circumstances were such that we could actually be together and do some things together, but not at this point. But I'm
Yeah.
grateful that you took some time out to be with me today. And it's, you know, how do I, when I came to Africa for the first time in 2019, and we met and
Mhm.
Sunday night, and
Yes.
I still remember that, and I didn't know why I was in Africa other than I had been invited, and I didn't, and whatever I thought was going to happen has not happened.
Yeah.
Um, but what has happened is everything I would want to see happen, which is um,
Mm.
is Africa stepping forward and taking responsibility for its own development in its life, and I
Yeah.
and that's a good thing. So, any
Yeah. I
last comment?
agree.
Any last comment for us over here on the western side of the Atlantic and the northern side of the equator, and in a place that's very isolated from the rest of the world. So, any thoughts for us as we part?
Yeah. So, of course, the gifts that we have gotten because of the development from that side are highly appreciated. And the word they use nowadays is the democratization of things. I'm also grateful for, and actually, I probably would be speaking for us when I say that we are grateful for the tools that have been given to the world to democratize things. I love that the flow of information is now faster and people can connect easily. That sounds like a small thing, but it is not because it helps us share ideas. It helps us find out what is best in class so that we can implement it. It has helped our young people because coding languages were not developed here, they were developed there. It is the same thing that is helping our young people to, our creatives, to come up with tools that are designed for Africa, that are changing Africa, that are solving our problems. So a lot of gratitude. And I would ask the people from your side who are going to watch this to partner with us, to join forces, to share their ideas, to make friends from this other side as we unite, as we build together, and to fight with us, alongside us, as we from Africa, as we seek to be treated equally, as we take our place to be equal negotiators, to be equal partners in matters of this world. So, and that's what I really want to see. And the young people are doing that. So grateful for folks like you, Ed, who believe in that vision, for the people who come here with the right agenda to visit with us, to share ideas, and to see how we could work together. Some even build businesses here with that in mind, and they equip our young people. Some help our people who are in the remote areas in whichever way, but in a way that transforms the mindset, because that's what we are looking for, not necessarily for handouts and for things that keep us begging. We don't want to be that. We want to contribute. We want to be equal partners in this world. So yeah, so that's my message. Yeah.
It's a great message. And thank you for our partnership that has existed for the last 5.5 years. It's made a huge
Yeah.
difference in my life because I look at the world through your eyes, and I see I see how leadership serves local communities, and um, and that's going to become more and more important over the next
Yeah.
generation.
Yeah.
So I'm grateful to know you, and thank you for being my friend.
Thank you. Back at you, Ed. Very grateful to be a friend. Very grateful to Sharon for introducing us.
Thank you.
Yes.
And I thank you all for watching. I think that this is not just a curiosity. It's just not two guys who happen to be introduced. We were introduced by Sharon. Sharon, right?
Yes.
Yeah. From all the way from North Dakota?
North Dakota. Yes.
North
North
Dakota.
Dakota. Yes.
What's
Yes.
her last name?
Secor.
Secor. Sharon Secor. I'll have to send her a
Yes.
link to this. But
Yeah.
a friendship can happen across every kind of division that you can imagine. And my encouragement to you who are watching is that you do not allow yourself to be satisfied with the circle of relationships you have. Go find people that are not like you. Go find people who you can learn from and people that you can serve. And when you do that, your life will change and your impact will grow. And you'll wonder, why didn't I do this earlier? So I thank you for watching. Thank you, Tony, for being here. And we'll see you next time here on the Eddie Network podcast. Bye bye.